Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Where the 99 Lead, a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, where we discuss many different subjects, topics, and activities around the University of Pikeville community and campus. Where the 99 Lead, referring of course to those historic 99 steps that lead to campus and more importantly, lead from campus back into the community. You may have seen the newest piece of hardware on campus, adding to the footprint at the University of Pikeville, the Health Professions Building. What a beautiful addition. We're going to talk about one of the programs that takes place in that building, the Kentucky College of Optometry. Today's guest, Dr. Donald Egan, Director of Contact Lens and Professor of Optometry at the University of Pikeville, Kentucky College of Optometry. Dr. Egan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. And
Great to have you here.
I appreciate the opportunity to talk about our new college on campus.
Indeed. Let's talk about Dr. Donald Egan before we go any further. Let's talk about your background, where you come from, and how you arrived here at the Kentucky College of Optometry.
Well, I've been fortunate to be associated with at least 5 colleges of optometry. And the idea is that as the opportunities presented themselves and the new schools developed, I was able to in what words I want to say it? I was able to take advantage of the opportunity that would present itself to educate students in an area for underprivileged or underserved people.
Before we go any further, I've got to ask about the building, because those of us in the community, we've seen the construction, we've followed that, and I know you have as well, closely looking forward to a new facility. What's that transition been like from temporary clinics and classrooms to the new facility?
When I first came here, there was no building, didn't break ground yet. There was just a mountain.
Right.
A mountain in eastern Kentucky.
Yes.
And it kind of reminded me when I was younger and used to go to those timeshare, and they would say, well, this is what's going to be here. This is what it's going to look like. So I just had the plans that were showed in front of me, so I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
I mean, I saw the architects play out in photos, but finally, as the days went by, that mountain, all of a sudden trucks came, and the thought was, are we going to explode the mountain, use explosives to take away the dirt? But obviously you can't because it's too close to town. So then the trucks came, and they had these, I don't know, pile drivers or dirt removers.
Yeah.
And they were pounding away for days to weeks to months. And I always thought it was curious because we had 2 hotels across the street.
Right.
And maybe it was just a coincidence, but it seemed to me that when anybody came to visit the College of Optometry, they were put on the side where the drilling was going on and were given earplugs.
Yes.
As opposed to somebody not associated with it was usually put in the back of the hotel. Again, just a coincidence, I'm sure.
Sure.
So then we saw the truck after truck taking away the dirt, and then they started the foundation. Then they brought in the steel, and of course the roads had to be closed down because the steel was pretty big. And, and then as first floor, second floor, and I actually took pictures for the whole time, and it's an amazing building now, and it's probably, if not the largest in the area, it's one of the largest in the area.
It's a beautiful building and a great addition to the community and to the campus. What does it mean for faculty at the Kentucky College of Optometry, and more importantly, what does it mean for the students to have that cutting edge, top of the line facility for their education?
One of the interesting things about the building itself was it's laid out in a color scheme which is supposed to signify the mountains. And the bottom layers are more like a reddish or an orange, like lava. And then as you go progressively towards the top, it changes color to finally the gray or the dark gray or the black. So that was supposed to show the development of the building and the development of the educational program for the students. For the students are very impressed. For example, we had, I think, 812 applications for this last class.
Wow.
We've already got over 400 applications for the next class, and we haven't even started recruiting yet. So the word is out there because we're right in time with what's new. Expanded therapeutic procedures, laser procedures. And we're only one of 3 states, and only 2 of those have school which have laser capabilities.
Right. So students at the Kentucky College of Optometry, not only will they be your local optometrist in those rural communities, but when they graduate upon completion of their education, they're able to conduct laser eye surgery.
Correct.
That it has taken off. I don't know the timeline on it, but it seems like in the last decade, it's become extremely popular treatment.
Yeah, our students will be certified for expanded therapy procedures and laser procedures, and that's one of the major recruitment things. That's why
Right.
we haven't had difficulty recruiting students, because they realize that'll happen.
Indeed.
With respect to, there's a good part of our student body, and I was trying to look at a number, and I think it's at least 1/3, maybe up to 1/2, at a minimum 1/4, again, I'm not sure the hard number,
Okay.
that are mission students. Mission students mean that these students will typically come back to rural Appalachia to service the underserved and unserved
Wow.
patient population.
Very good. And with the transition in the eye care professional industry, if you will, eye care professionals, optometrists, they retire, they get older, and there's always a need, and a growing need, particularly in those rural communities. I read some information when Kentucky College of Optometry was announced that there are counties in Kentucky that have one,
Correct.
and maybe have none.
There's some
in
that
those
have no
particular
optometrist.
counties.
And what's also curious is with the federally qualified health plans, which are around our area, which we intend to send our students to and have a clinic there, or at least be part of the clinic there, most of them had no eye care before we came.
Wow.
And now we've developed a few, and soon to be more,
Sure.
the ability to have eye care at these federally
Right.
qualified health centers. So we're really looking forward to that. It also helps service the population which has not had eye care. For example, diabetics. Diabetics are supposed to have an annual exam by an eye care practitioner.
Right.
And you'll find that only about 10% in Kentucky have had an eye exam. So you have a
Wow.
lot of diabetics out there who may be having problem with their eyes, which need to be seen by an eye care professional.
Certainly a need for these optometrists down the road. The class of 2020, now second-year students at the Kentucky College of Optometry. Dr. Donald Egan, Director of Contact Lens and Professor of Optometry at the Kentucky College of Optometry, our guest today. And the University of Pikeville, Kentucky College of Optometry recently joined other eye care professionals, academic partners, and national organizations in raising awareness about healthy contact lens wear and care during Contact Lens Week. You're the director of Contact Lens at the Kentucky College of Optometry. Tell us why Contact Lens Health Week was put into place, and who are the players in initiating this observance?
This is the 4th annual Contact Lens Health Week. It's a campaign designed by a lot of people, industry, government, and local schools, to make patients, students, families, the general public aware of contact lenses and what can go wrong with them, but
Sure.
also what's good about them. We've paired with, or I should say, the Contact Lens Health Week is pretty much spearheaded by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, but the participating members are industry, like Alcon, Bausch & Lomb, Cooper Vision, others, which are big in the contact lens market, as well as Johnson & Johnson. Other ones are the Kentucky Optometric Association, the American Academy of Optometry, the American Academy of Ophthalmology, and anybody who's got anything to do with eyes or in the
Sure.
eyewear community has been jumped on board and figured this is a good opportunity to educate the public about contact lenses and make sure you stay healthy and develop good, healthy habits.
We want to talk about some of the issues with contact lenses, the contact lens health. We want to get to that, but first, many of us either wear contact lenses, have worn contact lenses, know someone who does, has someone in the family. The Centers for Disease Control states that over 30 million people in the United States wear contact lenses. It's a huge number. Tell us, what are some of the benefits of contact lens wear?
First of all, we should probably say that between contact lenses and eyeglasses, it's personal choice.
Sure.
They both have pros and cons. It's a lifestyle choice.
Right.
Most of it's convenience, or depending on what they want their contact lenses for. Advantages, well, for example, I should look at us, we're wearing glasses.
Yeah.
Okay, again, that's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah.
I could wear contact lenses, but I choose to wear glasses. And what's the negatives of glasses? Well, glasses, you know, when you come from the cold to the hot or vice versa, they steam up.
Yes, they do.
Glasses are heavy. They dig in your nose. They dig in your ears. They, you know, they sometimes uncomfortable. They slip down.
Sure.
So they fog up. They get splatter on them from the rain. Of course, none of that happens with contact lenses.
Right.
Okay. Now, if I think about contact lenses, those are kind of the advantages. But what happens with contact lenses? Well, overall, the cost is more for a contact lens.
Right.
Because you're going to have to change them occasionally, more than a pair of glasses.
Uh-huh.
And you're also going to have to maintain them, so you're going to have to care for them. So there's more of a possibility of developing an eye infection, because obviously anything that transfers from your finger to the contact lens can eventually get into your eye. So there's pros and cons both ways. Now the contact lenses, the biggest advantages are it gives you a more natural appearance. So you don't have the cosmesis of a pair of glasses.
Right.
Also, they give you a wider field of view. For example, when I look at my glasses, I see the edges here. So it kind of restricts my peripheral vision a little bit.
You could have blind spots.
You can add blind spots. Good. That's very good. So the contact lenses move with your eye.
Sure.
They're more natural, so therefore it gives you more natural vision, so you don't have to worry about these extra blind spots. Right. They're also good for sports.
Sure.
I mean, most of your sports, especially contact sports, you don't see people wearing glasses. Maybe in basketball, somebody with this big rope holding their glasses on because they've had problems with contacts or whatever, you can't wear contact lenses. But most of your sports, exercising, even swimming, contact lenses. If you have a very thick prescription, again, thick prescription might be a negative in glasses because of the weight, so it might look better with a contact lens.
Sure.
But if you have a very thick prescription and you take your glasses off in the pool, well, obviously you can't see anything there. Now, it's a guarded wearing system with respect to the pool because obviously you don't want to get chlorine in your eyes because it'll become part of the contact lens and it might cause a reaction. So it's more of a guarded approach when you're swimming with contact lenses or even taking a shower with contact lenses. Right. But at least it gives you the option so that you can see as opposed to wearing your glasses.
Some of the natural benefits that we think of, especially those of us that need some corrected vision and either choose to wear eyeglasses or contact lenses. We've thought about many of those benefits. We've been talked to about those benefits. For those that need corrected vision, will a contact lens correct any vision that needs corrected? Is there a contact lens available for any, the same as if there might be a glasses?
Actually, there are some conditions which can only be corrected with a contact lens or some kind of contact lens. For example, there's a condition called keratoconus, and that's basically a protrusion of the cornea. It gets thinner and becomes kind of pointed. That's why it's keratoconus, the conical. There's also other things like very dry eyes, or something which has been, a pathology has been there so that there's a very irregular shape to the cornea which cannot be corrected with glasses. It has to be corrected with a contact lens. In the last maybe 5 to 8 years, a scleral lens, for those who have heard the term scleral lens, has become very popular. A scleral lens is a rigid type of plastic which is gas permeable, which will go onto the eye and not touch the cornea. It vaults the cornea. There's some clearance of tears between the contact lens and the cornea. And this, believe it or not, that tear lens helps to correct the eye and take care of the irregularities which could never be corrected with a pair of glasses.
Wow.
So there's certain diseases or pathological processes or after trauma which would only benefit from a contact lens versus a pair of glasses.
Very good.
These are the same people that come to the office and they haven't been able to see for years.
Sure.
But now you can put a contact lens on them and it's going to work like a bandage or a corrective device so that they can finally see.
Life-changing.
It's miracles. I mean, you know, it's people walk in depressed, unhappy, and they leave with a smile.
Exactly, exactly. Dr. Donald Egan, the Director of Contact Lens and Professor of Optometry at the Kentucky College of Optometry, our guest today as we learn and talk about Contact Lens Health Week, some of the benefits of contact lenses, obviously, and obviously some risk as well. We hear a lot about germs, infections in regard to wearing contact lenses. What are some of the risks that contact lens wearers need to be aware of?
The basic risk is the lenses seem to feel dry, or there's a dryness type effect. For example, if you're in an airplane, we know that the environment that surrounds the contact lens and your eyes in an airplane sometimes causes problem. There's a drying out.
Sure.
So you might have some dryness. So it's not unusual for patients who wear contact lenses during flights, especially extended flights, who will complain that their lenses are uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that maybe they should wear glasses. They might have to use some artificial tear preparations or some kind of re-wetting drops to keep their lenses moist. Okay. Another thing which is a problem, the same thing with the dryness, is people who stare at computers, or with all our social media who might stare at their iPhone all day
Right.
long. Again, they might complain about some kind of discomfort. So there's more of a guarded approach, so they have to use some kind of re-wetting drops. Those are not the risks, though, that we're worried about. The risks we're worried about are infection.
Right.
So whether it's a bacterial keratitis or a microbial keratitis, so that means some microbes are causing an infection of the cornea, the tissue on which the contact lens rests. So therefore we can develop keratitis. So, and I looked up some numbers before I came here today to get a perspective of, in contact lens patients, what's the incidence? So, and if somebody's wearing their lenses overnight, and that's a prescribed overnight,
Sure.
it was found that 1 in 500 have a risk of developing this microbial keratitis.
Okay.
If they wore a daily disposable, that's a lens which is just one in the daytime and then
Right.
thrown out at night.
Sure.
So it's a daily disposable. That was like 1 in 20,000.
Okay.
So that's a big difference between
Sure.
a lens which is worn once a day, thrown out, a fresh lens the next morning, versus one which is worn overnight. And those overnight lenses are usually for a 30-day period. And depending on the practice, sometimes they wear them for 30 consecutive days, some they wear them for 5 or 6 days at a time, then take them off for the weekend or sometime during the week. The other type of lenses are frequent replacement lenses, and these are all hydrogel or soft lenses I'm talking about. With those, frequent replacement means they might get replaced every 2 weeks, once a week, once a month, every 3 months. That's more like 1 in 10,000.
Right.
Again, these are relative to the studies which are published out there.
Sure.
So the more you wear them, overnight wear, versus the more you replace them, is kind of a curve you can say, so more, less.
Is that an indication of our laziness in maintenance of those lenses?
We're a disposable society.
Yes.
I remember years ago, and we had a dinner one time with one of the manufacturers, which was Johnson & Johnson. I'll name them because they were the first one with this type of philosophy. And they came out with the idea that we're going to replace lenses either once a week or once every 2 weeks, and then maybe even once a day.
Yeah.
And the thought was, oh really? Why would you want to buy 365 pairs of lenses when I can wear one lens for the whole year?
Right.
And a patient's perspective would be, wait a minute, I paid this much for one lens.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm going to have to pay 365. Now it won't be the same unit price, but it's still going to be a significant amount of money.
Sure.
But because we're a disposable society, when we throw away our pens, we throw away a lot of things. I mean, paper towels, everything is disposable.
Sure.
So it was an easy sell, and there's still a very good market push to encourage people to wear lenses on a disposable basis. What that means is you don't have to worry about maintenance and care, because you're not going to have to take them off, clean them, rinse them, store them for X number of hours so they're disinfected. You're going to take them off and wear a fresh one in the morning, plus give your eyes a chance to breathe and adapt to the environment without the contact lens.
Indeed. One message heard during Contact Lens Health Week is healthy habits equal healthy eyes. What are some of the healthy habits that contact lens wearers should practice to avoid those complications?
Well, the biggest one is wash your hands.
Sure.
I mean, every place you go that's got anything to do with health, even without health, even restaurants, I mean, it just says you make sure you wash your hands and dry them.
Right.
So you should always wash your hands and dry them, because you're going to be touched this foreign body that's going on your eye, so therefore whatever's on your finger is going to be transferred to your eye.
Right.
A good example, which is probably not a good example, but somebody that's in the kitchen, they're making, I don't know, cheesesteak, and they're throwing some peppers in there. So they've cut up the peppers,
Yes.
and then their contact lens is bothering them, so they've taken out, put it back on. Well, that pepper juice gets onto the fingers, gets into the contact lens, and all of a sudden now, wow, this really burns. What is that? So again, wash your hands and dry them, and that'll prevent everything from a minor thing like that to any kind of microbial infection.
Sure.
Another thing is to follow your replacement schedule. So if you're on a daily wear lens and it's a daily disposable, wear it, throw it out. Don't wear it and rewear it the next day, rewear it the next day. And we've had people who have basically said, well, if I can wear this one day, why can't I wear it for the week? And those are the ones who will eventually develop an infection,
Right.
because they're not following their replacement schedules. Another thing is that they should never use tap water.
Okay.
Again, tap water doesn't cost anything.
Right.
But so why do I use these solutions? Why don't I just rinse it with tap water, store it in tap water? And of course, that's not going to work either, because there's a lot of stuff in water that you can ingest which shouldn't go on your eyes.
Minerals and
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or saliva. You think, well, all right, so I won't use tap water. Maybe I'll just use saliva.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's a natural wetting agent.
Uh-huh.
Right now I'm getting dry, so I should can use some water.
okay.
But so maybe I can use saliva.
Uh-huh.
And there's been people who have taken off their lenses and stored them up by their gums
Uh-huh.
and figure, well, that'll keep it moist,
Yeah.
that'll keep it sterile.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, they put it on their eye. But a lot of things that go in your mouth can't go on your eye.
Sure.
And again, that's a source of infection. The cardinal rule is if there's pain, redness, or blurry vision, you should contact, at a minimum, your eye care practitioner. If that eye care practitioner is not available, then you should probably contact your general practitioner. And at worst comes to worst, go to an emergency room, because pain, redness, and blurry vision are not normal. Unless it's a contact lens which is soiled, you clean it and put it back on, then you know what it was.
Yeah.
Okay?
Exactly. Dr. Donald Egan, the Director of Contact Lens and Professor of Optometry at the Kentucky College of Optometry at UPike, our guest today. And you've been sharing information about good eye health with regard to contact lenses. Tell us some of the things that you've done to help spread the word and get the word out there.
In the school itself, we have educational lens programs for the students, both optometry students and the general population of students. There's also tearaway sheets we get from, let's say, the Association of Contact Lens Educators. They will have a one-page tearaway sheet which gives them healthy habits to follow, and they can get that from online. They can just download it,
Sure.
or we can get it from any eye care practitioner. Also, the American Optometric Association, the Academy of Optometry, the Academy of Ophthalmology, the Kentucky Association, CDC, FDA. There's all so much social media out there which has information they can
Sure.
use. And that's twofold. One is you can use it for general information, but two, you can also use it to report adverse reactions or adverse effects. And you're going to find that if you go on some of these, like there's MedWatch. MedWatch has a way that you can report adverse effects. Now, adverse effect could be I've developed an infection, and in theory, your practitioner should report that problem, ulcer or whatever, to the CDC and the FDA and whatever the governing body is at that time, which is representing
Sure.
the consumer with respect to adverse events. But if they don't, at least the patient can report it.
A lot of parents out there with teenagers that are wearing contact lenses. What can moms and dads do to make sure that their teens are taking proper care?
Again, pain, decreased vision, and what was the third one that escaped me? Redness.
Redness.
Okay. Those, if the parent sees that, because the patient can tell when they're in discomfort. I mean, parent can tell that
Sure.
their child is that. But what they need to watch with respect to their healthy teens or their healthy children is two things come to mind. One is around Halloween. Around Halloween, a lot of people like those freaky looking or weird looking contact lenses.
Sure.
And you can buy those online.
Yes.
You can buy those out of somebody's trunk.
Right. Exactly.
So they need to watch that doesn't happen. Another thing that happens with kids is they have a tendency to swap lenses or share lenses. And again, that's just like taking an infection from one eye and moving it
Uh-huh.
to somebody else.
Right.
So those are the biggest things. And the other thing is to make sure that they are replacing their lenses when they should replacing them, and
Right.
basically washing their hands.
Very good. Follow-up question. Okay, as we approach fall, we approach Halloween, and perhaps there are those costume lenses out there. How safe are they?
They're relatively safe. I mean,
Okay.
they still require a prescription, so they're FDA monitored. And you can get those from your eye care practitioners. It's just that others can also get those and sell them without going through that. Now, to get those lenses, first of all, is there a prescription in them, or are they just wearing them with no prescription,
Exactly.
so they might not see? So this person could be a hazard on the road because
Right.
they're not visually correct.
Sure.
Another thing is that some of the people who sell these don't tell the purchaser how to put them on, how to take them off, and how
Right.
to take care of them. So they're pretty much thinking, well, this is easy. I'll just put it on and leave it on all day and all night until I don't need it anymore, then I'll
Yeah.
throw it away. Or maybe I'll use it, save it for next year.
Yeah.
And of course, you get a lot of things growing in
Yeah.
you can culture a lot of things in a solution that with a
Sure.
contact lens. And to go back to another habit, which I didn't mention, which I should mention, is people should not top off their solutions. Their solutions should be totally eliminated from their case and totally replaced. So don't top off or reuse solutions.
Very good.
And don't mix solutions from different companies because some of them have different functions.
Indeed. Contact lens wearers out there, how often should they visit their eye care professional?
Minimum's a year. So just like we always tell everybody that you should get your eyes checked every year, same thing with a contact lens patient. The only ones that would be seen more are the ones who have specialty lenses like the ones we talked about before, which might have a pathological condition which requires special lenses. They probably should follow the advice of their eye care practitioner and will probably come back more often.
Very
Like
good.
extended wear is usually every 6 months as opposed to every year.
Very good. Dr. Donald Egan, Director of Contact Lens, Professor of Optometry at the Kentucky College of Optometry, our guest. And the Kentucky College of Optometry just welcomed its second class that will graduate in 2021. 22 states from Virginia to Hawaii, and a lot of those, most of those come from rural areas, and over 10% are from Kentucky. Tell us a little about this new group of the 60 students in second year.
Okay, in this current class, I'm going to try to recall this, I think we have 36 females. You're going to find in most of the optometry schools, the majority of your classes are now women. We have 24 males, 36 females. Like you said, 22 states are represented, so we have, not only do we have Appalachia or the surrounding to Kentucky, but
Sure.
we go to California, to Hawaii, to Michigan, to the East Coast. I mean, it's surprising how popular Kentucky school has become to the student population. I have written down myself a quarter underrepresented groups, so I guess those would call those are minorities. Okay, so 1/4 of them are from minority groups or identified minority groups. And before I said about half of them are probably mission students.
Sure.
And those are the students who we expect and have probably committed that they will go back to the area where the need is most. Okay?
Very good.
And like you said before, there's some counties which may not have an eye doctor or an eye practitioner.
Yes.
And we do have a lot of optometrists or eye care practitioners which are in retirement age.
Yes.
So the attrition rate says there's a need out there. For example, I probably get at least once a week, at a minimum once every 2 weeks, something from the Kentucky Optometric Association which is looking for somebody to help out in a certain area.
Indeed.
Or an employee, either an employee or a private practice or whatever.
Very good.
Okay.
Just about out of time. Dr. Egan, if someone has concerns about contact lenses they're using or how to care for them, quickly, who should they contact?
Oh, well, you can contact almost anybody at the Kentucky College of Optometry. I think they'll put my phone number up if by chance somebody has an immediate question or is
Sure.
in desperate need of finding eye care or at least has some questions about contact lenses which we didn't discuss. Or you can just go online and Kentucky Optometric Association, the FDA, CDC. You can usually find that. You can even probably put in one of your search engines, who do I contact when I have a problem?
Sure.
And it comes up a pretty extensive list.
Very good.
But for now, you could do the optometry school. You can do but the first call should be to your eye care practitioner because they should be in the loop so they know what's going on.
Absolutely. Dr. Egan, great information today for those contact lens wearers. Proper health, proper transitioning. If they're disposable, dump them. If they're long-term, follow the schedule, maintain them properly, and wash your blooming hands.
You got it.
Wash your hands, wash your hands. Take care of your eyes. You've only got one set. Dr. Donald Egan, thanks for being with us, Director of Contact Lens and Professor of Optometry at the Kentucky College of Optometry. Our pleasure to have you with us.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure and it's a
Indeed.
great opportunity.
You've been tuned to Wear the 99 Lead, a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia. Thanks for tuning in.